All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out. I'd like to call the regular meeting of LAVWCD Council to order. Today is April 21st, 2025. The time is now 6 p.m. If we could all rise for our invocation. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather in service and purpose. Grant us wisdom in our decisions, humility in our discussions, and unity in our efforts for the good of all we represent. Guide our hearts and minds tonight and bless our community always. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. If you'll stay standing for our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Schofield, roll call, please.
Ramirez,
Present.
Velasquez,
Here.
Stoker,
Present.
Ayala,
Here.
Ochoa, Pintoya,
Here.
Rickoff.
I'm here.
All right. Minutes of the previous meeting. I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve previous minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, I'll ask for your vote. And that passes unanimously. All right, one of my favorite things. Hopefully this is all right. Don't get mad at me if it's not, but it is a Employee Service Award. We had one last time that wasn't all the way accurate. So we have Mrs. Jamie McNerney for the library. Jamie, if you'd come up real quick. And you'll have to let me know if this is accurate or not. But it says you were hired April 14th, 2015. Mm-hmm. This is your 10-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Last week. And you are a patron service technician, is that correct?
Got it.
Awesome. Do you have anything you'd like to say, Jamie? No. Well, on behalf of the city of La Junta, we thank you for your years of service. I'm going to give you this pin, and I'm going to sign this certificate because I didn't sign a couple of them last time.
Thank you.
This pin is for 10 years of service.
Thank you so much.
And this is your certificate signed by me, Michael, and your supervisor, Heather.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
I mean, you're welcome to stay.
Yeah, you could give a speech if you thought of something. 10 years, you might have thought of something really.
Oh, I'm sure I could say
We'll wait for another. No, thank you very much, Jamie.
Thank you.
All right, now for citizens' participation for non-agenda items only, you have 5 minutes per person. Just come up to the mic and state your name for the record. Going once, going twice. All right, moving on. Are we going to skip A, Michael?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now we're going to maybe circle back around to A, but Lower Arkansas Valley Water Conservancy District Jack Goebel presentation. You might have to move it back up. The mic.
All right, well,
Thanks.
am I good? Is it on? Okay. Thanks for having me tonight. Couple things I wanted to introduce myself and the water district that I work for, if you're not familiar, and then have a request for you to consider. So, again, my name is Jack Goebel, and I'm the general manager of the Lower Arkansas Valley Water Conservancy District. Our main office is in Rocky Ford, right up the road here. And if you're not familiar with us, we were voted in 2002 by 5 counties, including Otero County. So basically, and you can see it on the map on the front page there, Pueblo, Crowley, Otero, Bent, and Prowers counties, basically right along the river from Pueblo to the Kansas state line. And the long and the short of it is we were voted in because this valley had seen a lot of farmland dried up over the years, and the detrimental effects that it had to our economy and environment and our communities. You know, we don't have to look very far, just up to Crowley County to see the devastating consequences of that. So we work in a variety of areas, but the one I'd like to talk to you tonight about is in water quantity. And so if you wouldn't mind turning to the second page there, you'll see a map of the city of Colorado Springs in green. And those are the current city limits. And all the other polygons that I have shown in color are different annexations for the city. The largest one there, shown in kind of an orangish brown color, is what they call Banning Lewis Ranch. That was annexed in 1988, and it's about 24,000 acres. And only about 5% on the very north end is developed at all. And so there's about 70,000 lots yet to develop in that, just in that one annexation there. And then if you look at the other colored polygons down below, those are different annexations. They each kind of have their own story, but I'll point you to kind of the purple one there. That's what was it's called the Amara Development Annexation. And you may have seen this in the news, but last August, myself and a number of farmers up and down the Lower Arkansas Valley went up to Colorado Springs City Council and testified because of our concerns with the growth of Colorado Springs and the extra water they're going to need for that growth, and most of it, as the city's own water plan says, will come from the Lower Arkansas Valley. We were successful in that. That was they vote on it twice, as all cities do, and the first vote was a 5-4 yes, and we got one city council member to flip their vote, and so it was a 4-5 failure, a 5-4 no vote, and so the annexation failed, and that was good because that was a lot of water that would have been needed for that. The one that I'd like to talk or focus on tonight is the one in red. That's called the Carmen Line annexation. It's about 1,900 acres and will include 6,500 homes and some commercial space, but important to us in the valley, it'll need 1,700 acre feet of water per year, every year, in its existence to support. And if you're not familiar with an acre foot, if you imagine like a football field's about an acre, a foot of water on that. And so it ends up being about 326,000 gallons. And if you turn to the next page, you'll see a presentation that Colorado Springs City Council gave to, or Colorado Springs Utilities gave to City Council, and that's their board they answer to. They don't have a different utility board, talking about this annexation. And if you look at the middle of the page there, you'll see that their need for their city, as far as water goes, is 129,000 acre feet per year. That's to build out the city as it is today with no new annexations. And below that, you'll see 95,000 acre feet a year. That's what they have in water now that they own and is in their system. And so you'll see there's a 34,000 acre feet per year water supply gap to build out their city as it sits today. What that amounts to us is about 50,000 to 60,000 acres of farmland that would need to be permanently dried up in the valley. And that's significant. I mean, if it was in Otero County, it would drive just about every acre of farmland in Otero County to support that. And in the blue below that, you'll see any new annexation only adds to that. So basically, what this means is their city as it sits today, to build it out, they need 34,000 acre feet of water per year. That's over 11 billion gallons of water per year. And this Carmen Line annexation, as I show on the bottom there, needs about 1,700 acre feet per year. And so we've been, like I said, going up to testify against these annexations just to bring light to this concern that this is basically going to drive a significant portion of our valley. And as you know, agriculture and irrigated agriculture is the backbone of our economy up and down the valley. And there really hasn't been much of a counter voice against these types of growth, and so we've raised that, and we've been pretty successful. We've had over 60 media hits, as they call it, in the last 3 months, where we've kind of caused a ruckus. And I don't know if anybody gets the Denver Post, but this was on 2 Sundays ago, the front page of the Sunday Denver Post, and it's 3 full-page article that they did on this, just because this is a growing concern across the West United States. So I know that 5 minutes is kind of the allotted time, so I'm hurrying through all this, but I'll be happy to answer any questions. Well, the reason I'm here today is to ask you to consider to adopt a resolution. Back in February, we at the district adopted a resolution, and I've included all the resolutions passed so far, but ours was the first one, and we basically speak to our concern about water supply in Colorado Springs, and that the majority of it's going to come from the Lower Ark Valley. And in Colorado Springs' own water plan, the last one they did was in 2017. It talks about the majority of their water is going to come from farms in the Lower Arkansas Valley. And so we passed that resolution, and we've asked other local governments to do the same. Otero County followed up in March with a resolution in support. Prowers County first part of April, and then Crowley County today passed a resolution. We also had a Otero County Farm Bureau pass a resolution last week, and I'm kind of going on a road show up and down the valley to the different cities and different entities, and asking them to do the same. So I rushed through all that. I apologize, but I know that I'm short on time. So I reached out to Michael, had a good conversation with him, and just asked if I could bring this before you today. And if it is something that you would like to do, all these resolutions are in this packet for your reference, and if you have any questions or needing more detail, we'd be happy to provide that. So.
Thank you, Jack, for coming out and doing all this. I got a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
If you are successful, and we don't lose anything to Colorado Springs, what is their plan? Do we know what their plan is to make up that difference right there?
So right now they're actively buying up water all around Los Animas and Bank County. So they're buying the Los Animas consolidated ditch, where if you're driving from here to Los Animas, you drop off the hill, and that farmland you first see. Xcel Energy owns about 3/4 of that. They were going to use for a power plant back in the 80s, and they've since decided to sell that. Colorado Springs is purchasing that. They're also buying under the Fort Lyon Canal all around Los Animas, and they filed in water court to get those uses changed from irrigation to municipal. And so they're actively buying water now to try to meet their 34,000 acre foot gap. And so really what we're saying is just stop the bleeding. You've got 34,000 acre feet of water you need for your city as is. Every time you add an annexation, you're just adding to that. And so success for us, at least for this step, is to have them put a moratorium or basically a pause on annexations and take a step back and look and try to, we've tried to get an IGA with them to lay out how they're going to get the water, base levels of mitigation for cities and counties, because when that water leaves, so does all that economic value, and so we're trying to work on an agreement like that. So far, it's been a slow go, but this type of public pressure is really, I think, what will get their attention to say, okay, we need to really do something rather than just what we've always done. One thing I left out is that it's pretty obvious that the citizens of Colorado Springs don't want to grow like this. Like I mentioned, in all of Colorado Springs, they have 74,000, if you can imagine, lots to build houses on. And the developer for these annexations is saying, we need housing, we need housing. 74,000 open lots. And the houses that are already built, they have a 10-year high of inventory. So it's not like there's a lack of housing, there's a lack of demand. And with the Space Force now moving to Alabama, the demand will decrease even more. And so there was a petition run, first time in the city's history, of citizens and folks that live out in El Paso County outside of Colorado Springs where this Carmeline annexation would go. And they were able to collect over 31,000 signatures in 20 days to force the decision back to city council. This is allowed in their city charter, where they were forced to either de-annex what they just approved, and then it would be dead, or refer it to a ballot. And that's what they did. They referred it to a ballot on a 6-3 vote. And so this June 17th, all of Colorado Springs will be voting on whether they want to grow like this. And if I was betting, I would say that it'll fail pretty miserably, because this will add to their water bills, it'll add people, it'll add cars. Police and fire both testified to their own city council that they're already stretched too thin. And this will, this annexation, like you saw on the map, is 3.5 miles away from Colorado Springs. It's a flagpole annex to get to it. And so anyway, I kind of went on a tangent there, but what we're looking for right now is just a pause on these annexations.
I think there was a study not too long ago that said Colorado Springs was going to take over the population of Denver by 2050. That's what they're on pace for?
Yep. Yeah, we're saying fill out your city as it is before you add commitments to more development.
Any other questions for Mr. Goebel? You did a really good job, thank you, and we'll look into this and see what we come up with for the next meeting.
Yeah, and I welcome you. At the bottom of the first page is our website. We totally revamped it, and we've been adding updates. And if you're interested in a newsletter, we send it out once or twice a month with updates, just short updates on what's going on. So I welcome you to visit that. If you have any questions for me, Michael's got my contact information. I'd be happy to come back, and even if you want updates at certain points throughout the year, I'd be happy to do that. So
I think that'd be great. Thanks, Chuck.
thank you all. Appreciate it.
Do we want to switch back to A?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay. Now, Property Craft, Danae Stratton.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Community. I don't so much have a presentation, just want to make you guys aware that we can be a resource to you. I started working with Stacy Malinsky, Rocky Ford City Manager, on a demo project. So what we do, demo asbestos, mold, fire, loss of life, fentanyl, meth cleanup, mitigation, all that fun stuff. And we started working with Stacy Malinsky, City of Rocky Ford, and we're also abating the old Bensport Inn currently. And in doing so, I realized that your community, all 6 Southeast County communities, are highly underserved when it comes to mitigation and abatement. And in speaking with Sheriff Mobley, he said he can't get somebody out here sometimes for up to 3 days to do an emergency board up, that kind of thing. So we're considering opening up shop out here, but I just wanted to familiarize myself and the company to you guys and let you know we're a resource for you. Our main office is located in Pueblo, but we have 6 other offices throughout the state of Colorado, and can get here. We say tops 3 hours in an emergency situation. We're 24-hour emergency service. So 10 p.m. on a Saturday, 2 a.m., it doesn't matter. You always get a live person on the phone if you need emergency services like that. We work with insurance companies, and sometimes try to get the customer to not have to file a claim because insurance in Colorado is crazy right now. So we do have financing options available as well. So just wanted to make you all aware, introduce myself and the company, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Stratton? No? No, thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, moving on to tourism and economic development. Pam.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give an update on, I'll do tourism first and then we'll hop to economic development, and just feel free to ask questions for when I go through. Quick update on some tourism stuff. We are in the middle of the Destination Blueprint program. This is a grant. I'll say grant, but it's not really a monetary grant. It's a program through the tourism office that we applied for last year to really in partnership with Bensold Fort. When we applied, this was before we knew about the closures at Ben's Fort, so we've pivoted a little bit on this, and we are helping them with communication for the fort. Around that, we've updated all the websites that are out there talking about when the fort is open and when it's going to be reopened. So that's kind of what we're focusing on for the Destination Blueprint program. The other thing I wanted to mention, we will be having a Bensold Fort private tour. We are inviting the city council. This is actually an invitation. Excuse me, I'm not feeling well today. An invitation for joint tourism board and city council. So Eric Leonard invited us to come out May 20th. I will send out an email later this week, excuse me, that will have that information. The resident sentiment survey that we're working on is part of the Blueprint program as well. We have, if you've seen that out, there's been 163 responses that we've had. So far, most of those respondents say they agree or strongly agree that the positive impacts of tourism outweigh the negative impacts. They agree or strongly agree that the tourism industry in La Junta has a positive impact on local business. So this is all part of the Destination Blueprint program that we're doing. We have the resident sentiment survey, and we also have a stakeholder survey that will be being sent out specifically to stakeholders. Any question on the Destination Blueprint program? Okay.
I'll just mention that, you know, if you thought it was a long survey, it's because it's the baseline, and we did one, was it last year?
2021.
2021. So they're trying to match it to that original survey. That's why it is the way it is. So in the future, we may, you know, shorten that up and consolidate it. But right now, it's just to go off of that first one.
Yes.
And on the tour, we're planning on meeting here and taking the bus.
Yes, and I was going to provide all those details. The fort is not open to the public right now, so this is a private tour that will be for city council and tourism only. We will be able to ask questions, and we'll have some talking points on when that's going to be opening, but this is specifically an opportunity for the superintendent to tour the fort, talk about the challenges they've had and the plan of what it will look like moving forward. I did want to update to the tourism board. I think we were at 119 responses when we had the Blueprint resident survey on our tourism board day. Is that the number? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was right under 120. Yeah.
So we're up to 163 now. So I encourage people to share their information. Like Joe said, it's a lot of questions, but it's a good way for us to get some information. Other exciting news, let's see, this was at the Tarantula Fest. We have I apologize for all of the acronyms that are in my head. OREC, which is the Outdoor Recreation Department under the state of Colorado, did through Rocky Mountain PBS a partnership with that and the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, a PBS series called Colorado Uncharted. Some of you might have seen us filming that during the Tarantula Fest. That is going to be aired on April 24th at 7:30 on Rocky Mountain PBS, and then re-aired on May 11th at 5:30. So Southeast Colorado will be highlighted, as well as Ouray, Moffat County, and San Luis Valley. I talked to Paula Cushing, who is our spider expert that we work with, and she said that the Southeast Colorado episode was wonderful. So I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Visit La Junta website. We talked about this also at the tourism board meeting. Our website was created in 2017. The technology has since changed since 2017. We have a really hard time updating the back end information of the website, so we're looking at doing a facelift, if you will. presented it to the tourism board, and the tourism board, and I very much agree, likes the way that the website is right now, so we're looking to try to keep that information, or the look, if you will, but do a refresh and a redesign so that when we have new businesses or new information, we can update that in an easy manner. So that is something that we are working on from tourism as well. Any questions for tourism?
Real quick, if people want to fill out the survey, where's the best place for them to find it?
So there was a link on the city website. I don't know if that was taken down. Is that still there?
It was taken down, I can't remember what we put, but we'll be changing it back over.
Yeah, and we have it on the Facebook page, the Visit Lahaina Facebook page,
Okay.
and then we've pushed that up a few times, so we can push that out again, but that.
But Michael, we were going to work on putting that in the utility bill, right? The QR code, yeah.
We also have a QR code, which if that's easier now, we can find a way to put that. But right now it's on the Visit Lahunta Facebook page. Okay. Any other questions on tourism? Okay. Moving on to economic development. I know we've talked about this in work sessions. Just want to give an update on kind of where we're at for focus of 2025. Focusing on outreach, network, and connections. We've had a lot of local engagement with businesses like Louis Bolt to Copper Kitchen and Otero College. We're also focusing on monthly meetings with organizations like Otero County Economic Development, Southeast Colorado Enterprise Development, or acronyms, SECED, Southeast Business Retention and Expansion Attraction. Those are all monthly meetings doing projects that are anywhere from transportation to housing to different regional projects that we're trying to be a part of. And then continued outreach with the state through DOLA, OEDIT, and Colorado Workforce Center. The other thing trying to focus on is data and kind of the lack thereof of data that we don't have a lot of that. The last survey was, I think, 2017 that we were quoting for the 2A initiative, and that was the last time we'd really done data collection on where we're getting money and all of that, and I think we were still quoting that. So looking into how we beef up that information. And also we are subscribing to a CRM, a customer relationship management tool that will help us track where the businesses, who our businesses are, how we contact them. One of the challenges we had, for example, was after Tarantula Fest, when we tried to reach out to all the businesses or send a survey. We don't have a collective way to do that. So it was talking one-on-one or going to them or collecting that data has been very challenging. Excuse me. This will benefit economic development, Lahaina Main Street, and we've talked to the Chamber of Commerce about partnering with that as well. In the future, we've talked a lot about the discussions that we've had. I know Michael and I have sat and had some conversations as well as the work session. So just what does the future of economic development look like, I think is an important conversation to continue to have, and what will get the best realistic expectations for our community. We are wrapping up phase 1 of the RTAP program, the Rural Technical Assistance Program. This is a project through OREC, again, Outdoor Recreation Office, and CU Masters of the Environment. We've identified the goals to revitalize downtown and expand economic opportunities, strengthen collaboration, community engagement, volunteership, and partnerships, enhance outdoor recreation infrastructure and programming, and destination marketing and promotion of outdoor and cultural assets. So those are the goals that we're working on, and we have actionable items and steps under each one of those that are part of the action plan. I was going to print that out and give that to you, but there's the students that are working on it through the MEND program. That will be complete on the, I think it's the 29th of April. So I'll be able to share that out and you guys can see the actionable steps. So the nice thing about this too is we had a lot of wonderful participation in our workshops. So it's not necessarily going to be all led by the City of Lahunta. We'll have some great partners that will be helping to lead different efforts under, for example, one of the enhancing outdoor recreation is to look more into birding and how do we attract more people for birding, since we have some very unique birds here. So working with like the Rocky Mountain Bird Observatory to do that, and just increasing those partnerships. The other thing that has been on the list for economic development, as a reminder, we are a Lahana Main Street, or we are a Main Street. We are also a creative district. Main Street is under DOLA, creative district is under the Colorado Creative Industries. Those are both state programs. We used to call ourselves La Junta Rise. There's a board to be required for La Junta Rise that we have. That board is currently kind of taking a step back to see if La Junta Rise is the right name and what the strategic working plan and strategic plan of that board is, based on the funds that we get from DOLA and Creative Industries. So I think we're looking at just taking a step back and possibly calling ourselves La Junta Creative Main Street, because when people hear La Junta Rise, they don't necessarily know what that looks like. We'll share a little bit more information when that comes out, but looking just to reevaluate and re-envision the strategic plan and work plan on that, hoping to get some answers and finalize that by the end of 2025. Michael, I know you haven't had a chance to be in a meeting yet, but we are working with a consultant that is paid for through Main Street under the Ayers and Associate, which then connects to the Brownsfield grant, which is another project that doesn't really fall under economic development, but I think there's a lot of different ways that we can utilize that and connect on that. Any questions on economic development?
Just so everyone knows, when we're talking about outdoor recreation, this takes a long time. And this is something that takes a long time when you have two of the main ones, which is water and mountains. And we don't have water or mountains really in our area. So branching off into the birding is huge. Our trails is huge, but even that is going to take a very long time. So I don't want anyone to think, hey, this is going to be an overnight thing with outdoor recreation. Even places that have those high attractions, that they take a long time to build that up. So just make sure that everyone knows this is a long process on that.
Well, just to add on that, Joe, I think it's a good reminder how long it's taken us for tarantula tourism. That wasn't an overnight thing too, so that really goes to your example of how it's
even when you have something that
yeah.
brings people in, it
It's
still takes a while to.
It's incremental to build. So this is just a start.
And then, Michael, did you have any update on what we're finding out from Oklahoma or anything like that?
Well, I've said it before, and I'll just say it again. La Junta does economic development unlike anywhere I've ever seen. Now, again, I haven't been all over the world, but I've been enough places that y'all do it rather uniquely here. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just hoping that I can maybe help shed some light on some new ways of doing things that will be a little more prosperous for us, economic developmentally speaking. So,
And as Michael works through that process, then we will also have another work session afterwards
For sure.
and go over it all.
for sure.
Is La Junta or anywhere in southeastern Colorado, well, Otero County specifically, designated as a tourism location, a designated tourism location? Like Cripple Creek and Black Hawk, they have a specific designation. And if not, how do
I'm
we
not
get that?
familiar with what those designations. I don't.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't know what those are through. I've never really heard of. Is it because they have a welcome? I'm not familiar with.
I don't know why, but I know those two locations, because they're mountain communities and they have certain amenities to them, they're designated as tourist locations or tourist destinations in the state of Colorado.
Okay, I'll have to look into that because I'm not sure where that designation comes from. I don't believe it comes from the tourism office because that's not anything we've ever, there's different programs that they have, but I don't know that official designation is part of that. So I can look into it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Oh.
Yeah, two questions. When we had Rural Philanthropy Days, everyone was getting very excited about dark skies and opportunities for tourism and economic opportunities. Has that gone anywhere? I feel like, I don't know, Has
Yes,
it gone anywhere?
it did. We had some conversations with, so the city looked at it originally, but it was very much, at that time, it was very much, a lot to it. So Canyons and Plains kind of took that over, and that's the regional heritage tourism, 6th County. And the idea was to try to really push for, there's a lot of national park sites that are dark skies, and then also the Comanche, U.S. Forest Service, so trying to push for that. I know that, I believe Sand Creek is in the process, and it makes sense just because they don't have a lot of the lighting, and so some of it just needs to be upgraded. But that has needed to be something that either the Park Service or the Forest Service takes on to do that. CTO does have some funding and mentoring available for the organizations that want to do that, but we just haven't pushed for it for La Junta, just because it's a separate certification that it's a big investment, but we still call ourselves, that you can look up and do. We say more stargazing.
Yeah.
It's very much technical and having to have the right lamp posts and stuff downtown that point the light down versus up, and so it's a big investment for an entire community to do it, but it feels like it's more attainable from the Park Service. But then again, since those are federal properties, it kind of goes back to them, and if they're wanting to lead those efforts.
And when the city did look at it, our infrastructure lighting wise wasn't anywhere close to what we could do, because we wanted to do some stuff at the city park or maybe a brick and tile, but we just weren't equipped at that point, and we're still not. But it costs a lot more money to put those lights the way they require them to get the designation. Now you could probably still do it in a certain way, but
Yeah. And I think it needs to be, for a community, it needs to be a bigger part of the plan when they're upgrading or updating the lighting,
Right.
to do it that way instead of apply for designation and have to do
Right.
everything. I
Yeah.
think is what they've, which would be the more efficient approach to that.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, my second question, hopefully a much shorter, easier answer. Is the overlap of the Main Street district and the Creative District, is it the same footprint, or is it all of La Junta? Like, what is
That's
the
a
Main Street district and the
Yeah,
Creative
that's a good question, and that's something that we're having a conversation. When we applied to become a creative district, we had to identify the locations, and it was not necessarily connected. We have talked to DOLA about expanding the map. They do not love the idea of calling everywhere a main street, just because the main street is truly what they're trying to promote is the downtown thoroughfare. So that's the conversation we continue to have, but we are able to change that, and it's not like concrete and set in stone. So I think and I do have a map I can share. I think it's the Colorado, Santa Fe, up to maybe, can't think of the streets, on First. But I think we even get like the trading, Lahana trading in that, so it goes over there. So it's kind of, I don't know that it's just like a box. And I know with the Creative District, when we did that, we made sure to include like the Picket Wire and Otero and all of those places. I think even the high schools, to include all of the arts in it, not just, again, like a square designation.
Okay.
I think the only other thing I have to add is when we're still thinking of what economic development is going to be, we do have a main player that used to be part of it, which is Urban Renewal and Nancy Bennett, and I think what they do fits hand in hand with economic development. So when we do get that plan going forward, we need to make sure we're including them in the process and attending their meeting and giving them an update as well too. All right, thank you, Pam. This one says it's me, but I don't have an update, so. Does Michael have an update on the property management audit?
Sure. So, given the information we were given from CIRSA at our last meeting and how they are not going to be able to conduct the audit as we would have, we'd kind of hope, basically it's shifted to me, And so Brock and I are going to begin this process. He and I met last week, and I kind of discussed with him a little bit of what was going on and kind of what we're going to be looking for. He was in agreement with what the mission is. And so just scheduling wise, he and I are probably going to get together here within the next couple of weeks to really put a plan together. The big things are, of course, we're going to go through the finances. Another big thing, a couple of big things we're going to be doing is looking at each property that we do have, looking at all those leases and what they look like, and if all those are performing the way they're supposed to be performing is the thing. Another big thing we're looking at is buildings that the city has that, you know, are the assets or the liabilities. If they're liabilities, why are we continuing to sustain them? It's going to be the big question that we're trying to answer between now and the next couple months when we put all this together. That's it for now. Nothing really concrete, just kind of the plan going forward. And again, I welcome any input at any time.
Michael, I know that at the last meeting there was, because I remember feeling incredulous that we were literally talking about taking a bus tour, but it does sound like that is something that we were talking about. Is that next on your list to organize?
Ish. It really, I mean, because if you look at property management, you look at all the properties we have, we literally have a 3-week binder. I mean, it's this thick, full of properties. And so I myself don't even have a full understanding or grasp of how many properties we actually have and what they're doing for the city. So I think once we get that organized and kind of get that figured out, I think then at that point we'll schedule the bus tour and we'll hop on the bus and go around and be able to point out and give my opinion on different buildings here and properties here in town.
Thanks.
And the way I picture this, Michael, is it might have to be broken out into a couple different tours. You know, it's not going to be a one and done.
Right.
It could be a one and done, but we're not going to get much out of it.
You know, because again, just the number of properties we have, it's vast. It really is. And again, I don't even have a full understanding of the number of properties and what they're even doing for the city at this point. So I think it's just going to be it's going to take Brock and I some time to sit down and process through them all. Yeah, some of them we're going to be able to look at and go, hey, yeah, this one's good. You know, move to the next one. And we might have a pile that are like, we don't really know what this is. But then surely we're going to have a pile where we're going to say, what is going on here? And of course, those are the ones that we're going to obviously focus on first to try to figure out what's going on with them and hopefully move them over to the good pile. So as far as an update, that's all we have right now. We're just kind of putting the plan together.
Thank you, Michael.
Yep.
All right, Mrs. Harris.
Here we go. So this is a second reading of an ordinance making supplemental appropriations to the electric fund for the calendar year 2025. You all may remember that this has to do with the breakers, and we had lots of discussion about it previously.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
All right, do you have a motion?
I'll move.
I have a motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, I'll ask for your vote. Yeah. Passes with 1 no. Board appointment. We are here to appoint Erica Lively to the Historic Preservation Board. Have anything to add to that, Nancy?
No, but I think she'll be a very good member because she has a lot of background in historical research and a very great interest in it, so I think she's going to be a great. The other person who applied I thought would be great too, but we only had one opening.
Sometimes it works out. I'm glad that we had 2 people going out for one position, because sometimes.
So I hope he might reapply whenever there's another opening.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Erica Lively to the Hunter Historic Preservation Board.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, I'll ask for your vote. And that passes unanimously. All right, Mrs. Harris.
I know that in the past, when we've had ordinances that were long and horribly boring to read, that I've been able to say, I didn't write those. I did write this one. It is my fault. I will apologize. Let's read the title first, then I'll tell you what it actually does, right? So, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of La Junta, Colorado, repealing and replacing Chapter 10.04 of the La Junta Municipal Code and adopting a new Chapter 10.04 of the La Junta Municipal Code to adopt the 2024 edition of the Model Traffic Code. So, What happened is, in the midst of doing research in connection with all of the speed enforcement that we've been talking about doing, I began researching what our current code looked like. And I found that the last time that we, as a city, adopted a model traffic code was in 2010. And it is true that the model traffic code is not updated every year, but the last time it was updated was 2020. And if you think about it, in 2010, cell phones didn't really exist as smartphones, they were flips. So there's quite a lot of changes that have happened. And so I suggested that if we were going to be moving towards some of the more modern parts of traffic enforcement, which might include the AVIS, the automatic vehicle identification systems that we saw discussed at the previous meeting, this would be a good first step without having to make any adoptions that are outside of what the city of La Junta has already done. This is just moving from 2010 to 2024.
Any other discussion on that?
Yeah, I just had a question. You know, since we did miss that one update in 2020, you know, is there a way where we make sure we stay on top of that for whenever new ones come out, or, you know, do we just have to hope somebody remembers?
You know, I don't have a story around what happened, whether 2020 historically was a difficult year for everyone. My guess is it might have been easily missed. My conversation with La Junta Chief of Police Todd Quick is that he does keep abreast of these, but until recently was not really aware of his ability to influence what we might do here. So it sounds like that might be a natural change, yes.
Any other discussion? This is odd because it's Bob rules, so we could have the discussion first, but is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve on first reading the ordinance of the City Council of the City of La Junta repealing and replacing 10.04. Now I'll just leave it at that. We're adopting the 2024 as written.
I'll second it.
I started reading it and I was like, holy hell, it's gonna take me forever.
Yeah, I know.
I have a motion and a second. I'll ask for your vote. That passes unanimously. All right, moving on to committee and board reports. Anyone with committee and board reports?
Just from the utility board, starting off with streets, Martin Montoya is going to start placing more cardboard collection containers to reduce the amount of cardboard going to the landfill. He's going to look at that. That
will be sanitation.
Sanitation, yeah, when I say streets. We'll offset the cost of putting up those containers in a couple of years. So it'll be a cost up front, but it'll pay for itself with water and sanitation, or water and wastewater. They're in a routine maintenance mode right now at the water plant and at the wastewater plant, and doing hydrant maintenance right now throughout the city. You know, it is starting to warm up and we're starting to get into fire danger again. We will also be doing, or they are working on providing water, or working on the water provided to brick and tile. So hopefully when they put the sod in there, we'll have water, have a nice little green area in that area. So that, I think that it might even be complete as we speak. Moving on to the electric department, talking about dark skies. If they keep hitting poles at the rate that they're hitting poles in the city of Lano, we'll have a dark sky environment pretty quick. So I think it was 3 poles that week, and then by today's report, I'm sure it's up to 5, not to mention the traffic control light on 3rd and Colorado. So that's a cost to the city, but not Martin, but Mr. Arguello and the electric department are doing that. In driving by these light poles, I realized that they're not very far off the main travel portion of the roadway. So if a car goes mostly to the left, they're going to hit a light pole. It's only like 6 inches in some areas. But my bigger concern, other than the light poles being hit, and more so, is the safety of our crews that are going out there repairing those lights. If they're not paying attention and they're drifting off and hitting a light pole, you know, I just worry that our light crew will be out there replacing a pole and somebody will be paying attention to their cell phone and hit one of our crew members out there. So let's exercise a little judgment. Going back to water a little bit, I know we're coming into the hot weather. Last year we had some brownouts and we were asking people to conserve their energies. And during the course of a blackout, now this, I guess I never really thought about it. If we have a blackout, especially during the day, doesn't mean you leave your house and go outside and start watering your lawn. If we don't have the pumps working, we can't replenish water to the tanks, and we will deplete that in short order if everybody goes outside during a blackout during the middle of the day to water their, so just refrain from doing that. And I know it's a little bit away, but on May 15th, we will start water restrictions again. So you have until May 15th to get your planting in, your lawns, whatever greening you're gonna work on. So we'll start the water restrictions on the 15th.
Thank you, Paul. Any other committee or board reports?
I've got planning and library. So planning met last week, and appreciate that we have City Manager Hart. He has looked up what is in the state statute as far as what planning committees should be doing, and I think we're going to be updating our mission and probably the composition of the planning commission as well. Martin gave a fantastic presentation and an update on efforts with vacant buildings and bringing them up to their full use. And 111 properties received letters. I think it's interesting to note this is about 2.5% of all of the residential properties in La Junta are currently vacant or just being looked at for how they can be brought up to compliance. Also, 22 commercial buildings are part of this. It is not compatible with our current building code to be using buildings only for storage. If there's only if there's two takeaways from the conversation, one, it's that it's being applied to everyone and there's no exceptions. So if you've gotten a letter, the second takeaway is come in and talk to Marilyn and Martin, because I think they're very well versed in both exactly what the code says, but also what needs to be done to bring buildings up to compliance. And I also appreciated the way Martin presented the reason why, if we have a need for housing in La Junta and we have buildings that could be used as houses, they should be used as houses. And if there's buildings that could be commercial properties that are being used as warehouses, it's very tied into the economic development conversation. So that's the why behind where that is going. And so I thought that was a good conversation in the planning.
Just so everyone knows, Martin will be here at the next council meeting to really go through that. He'll give you guys the whole demonstration that Planning Commission got to.
Excellent. All right, and then the library board. Today was my first time going to that meeting. Just a few points that kind of stuck out to me. One is that the summer reading program, there's no city money anymore in supporting the summer reading program, and the Friends of the Library have really taken over on that. And if you participated in the book sale last week, that got us about halfway there of the $3,000 cost to do the summer reading program. They raised $1,600 approximately at the book sale. So just encouraging everyone, if you're not already a friend of the library, it's a good cause, I do believe, and we all know the summer reading program is fantastic. So there's a question about there is a half position that is currently on hold in the circulation, one of the 4 circulation positions, and a question about we had passed it in our budget when we approved the budget last year, but now the position is vacant but not be able to be filled, and I just wanted to know kind of background of that, because the understanding is that City Council said to put it on hold, but I don't remember that conversation.
I'll take a stab at this first, then y'all can provide the history. So when that position became available, I was contacted by several council members as well as other city employees that it was discussed and agreed upon that if there was a vacancy in the library, in library staff at any point this year, that it would not be refilled because of budget issues.
Okay, I don't remember.
Potential budget issues.
I don't remember that conversation happening during the budget conversation.
I wasn't here for that
Yeah.
at that time. It's all I had to do was to rely on the folks that all told me. Again, I don't want to point out people just right now, but I had 7 different people between elected folks and appointed folks that all told me the same exact thing was said and agreed upon. Now again, I do understand that that position is there and it may have been budgeted. However, with budgets the way they are, that's what I was told, and again, I wasn't here either.
Are there any other positions or any other departments that are being told not to fill positions if they come open?
I was not told of any other conversations with any other department heads of similar fashion.
Okay. Does anybody else remember the conversation?
Yeah,
Of not
so
filling?
we had the lengthy discussion on the budget as it pertained to the library, you know, as far as salaries were obviously way over the income. And at the time, it was more of a compromise that instead of rather Brad at the time cutting positions, I felt it was agreement with the council that those positions would not be filled if they became open. And that was kind of a compromise versus cutting the actual positions, firing somebody.
Or the hours.
Or the hours, or cutting the hours, because I know cutting the hours was also part of the discussion in, I guess, kind of trying to put a Band-Aid on the library budget due to the 90-some%, you know, revenue versus expense. And that's kind of just throwing a number, but it's pretty large as far as revenue and expense for the library.
And I do know when that happened that Michael did his due diligence on calling previous people that were in those things, so I know he did that side of it.
All right. I just don't remember us deciding that as a council. It may have been part of discussions around the budget, but I just want to make sure that we're being transparent when we're doing that. And then right now, the library's hours are 3 hours less than they used to be, but that change in schedule isn't really having any cost savings, and it is numbers of people who are accessing the library are slightly down from last year on checking out books and that sort of thing. So just wanting to put it out there that if we're not having cost savings, I'm not sure closing the library for 3 hours is helpful to the community. So.
And I also think those hour changes had to do with the change of work week schedules. That's where I believe that's when the change to the library hours happened, because with the change in the work schedules.
4 days for everyone else.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not sure it totally makes sense to cut a service, just the same way we didn't cut the hours that police are available or firefighters are available. I think the library is more of a service that the hours that they were operating might have made sense the way they were, and if it's not having cost savings and people are still working the same number of hours, just something that I think might want to be revisited. So those are my 2 committees.
I don't think comparing the police department to the library is comparing apples to apples.
All right. I just want to add on the tourism meeting, we did talk about maybe doing something with Amtrak and putting some local brochures into the Amtrak station. We do have times throughout the week that they're stuck here for a prolonged period of time, so we wanted to make sure that we're putting something out there that promotes La Junta, whether it's a bigger sticker, and then maybe doing something with our sports tourism as well too, with the big QR codes that have the website for Visit La Junta at our ball fields, or where we have rec sports and high school sports.
Can I circle back to the library thing real fast? Who sets those hours? Who is one that says these hours? Me?
Yes.
Okay. So no one's ever told me that.
that's something I didn't know was within my realm to look at. So I will look into that and see if there are better times and days that the library should be open. And I'll put a get a report together and get back to you on that.
And I do know at that time, Brad got with Heather, and those hours are figured because of they were the least traffic times. So that's why when they came up with what the schedule they did was for the most busy part of the day on that Saturday.
Right, and which makes complete sense, having the most folks there during the highest volume of patrons there. So that's not a problem. Yeah, I'll get with Heather, and I'll put something together, and we'll get back to you on that.
Well, I'll just stay here real quick. When you did make that decision on that part-time position, you did get with Heather, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Just wanted that to be
Yeah,
clear.
no, I'm pushing it too hard and not hard enough. Anyway, okay, there he goes. No, there was a discussion Heather and I had whenever that position became vacant, and again, that's whenever I made all the phone calls that I did, and also the folks that I did, and again, 7 of you all indicated that that's what was agreed upon, and that's what y'all are going to go with. So, and again, being the new guy here, I can only go off, what I'm told. But yeah, I'll look into this and again see if we do need to shift the hours some, and do need to shift when folks are there. Maybe not. We'll see.
Well, since you're on the mic, it's city manager comments.
Sure. See, I did it again.
Just leave it on.
I'm going to leave it on. Okay. Oh, there we go. I don't know. Weird. A couple of things I've been working on, policy stuff I've been working on here the last few weeks. Vehicle policy and take-home vehicle policy. You all have received those in your inboxes. I still do welcome your input that you may have. I'm looking to get to some final drafts on those here before too long. I have also been working with Aaron, with Chief Quick on the Avis ordinance, and also on the weed ordinance, and weed as in the weeds that grow out of the ground.
Well, that one goes out of the ground too.
Well, okay, ones that the city seems to concern itself with. Because really, it's one of those things. Our ordinance right now are lacking when we're talking about weeds and vegetation and stuff like that. So I've been working with that with Aaron and Chief Quick on getting those revamped, and hopefully we'll have something next time. Yeah, maybe. Okay, sounds good. MMOF, the multimodal. What did we say that stood for, Pam? We figured it out this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. We figured out the acronym this morning at a meeting we have. We've had a couple meetings so far in discussing this, and just a little history that I know about with this potential project. It started about 10 years ago with having a facility that is a facility / welcome center / train station / bus station / RV park. I don't know just yet.
Multimodal.
Yeah. Multimodal. Anyway, so we've had a couple meetings on that because the city did receive a grant, about $525,000 to do the design of it. That's just strictly the design of it. That's not in the implementation or answer the big questions that after it is built, whose baby is it and who gets to raise it. Again, looking at it from a city standpoint and a budget standpoint, I don't think it's something the city is going to be able to take on at this time. Now, that doesn't mean that some other entity can't. So our next step in this is we're going to get with tourism, economic development, chamber. Who else? Pam, help me out.
We talked about urban renewal.
Urban renewal. Anyway, we're going to get all. Who else? Was that it? Was there anybody else?
We talked about the arts as well.
Yeah. So we're going to get a bunch of people in the room and figure out who wants to raise this baby if we have it. Is essentially what's going to happen. And if nobody wants to raise it, then it's probably going to go away. To be just straight, blunt, honest with you. It sounds like a really cool idea. All the designs that I've seen for it, or the tentative designs that I've seen for it, look pretty cool. However, when you think down the road, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, who's paying to operate that? So that's the big question we're going to try to answer.
It's multimodal transportation and mitigation option.
You just made that up. You just made no. That's really what it is. No. Yeah, because we looked it up when we had it in our notes today, and then we were like, oh, that's what it means. Nobody knew what it meant. That's how important apparently it is. Nobody knew what exactly it meant. So again, we're going to be getting that meeting together within the next few weeks, I think, to try to figure out steps going forward, if there are even steps going forward. I don't know just yet. Strike and Play. I met with some of the owners of the Strike and Play, the new bowling alley coming to town. Thank you to Miss Julie in the back out there. What are you in the back for today, Julie?
I like the back seat.
Oh, okay. All right. Back row Baptist.
You can
Is that
see everybody.
I keep driving everybody? I get it. That makes sense.
Can you
Good.
speak into the microphone, Julie?
Good idea. But I was able to meet with some of those folks, some of the folks that own the bowling alley, thanks to Julie. We sat down and talked about some of the obstacles that they're facing, and some of the ways that the city may be able to or may not be able to help them out. I know they're in the process of searching for grants, but due to where they're at right now, grants there's not very many out there. So if you were a grant writer out there and think you might be able to help them out, holler at us, holler at me, holler at Julie. Let's get y'all in contact just to get this going, because I think it's definitely something that the Hunter needs. So I support it. I mean, it's just one of those things, trying to get them there to that point where they can get open and going. Blue Stream Nursing Center out south of town. Went out there and took a tour of that. It's been about a week and a half ago. If you haven't been out there, that is an amazing little joint they got out there. They're looking so they're finally to the point now where they're taking Medicare and Medicaid, and so they're going to be doing kind of another open house type event to, well, I suggested that they do some sort of open house event. I don't know, maybe they might not be planning on it, but maybe they might now that I've told everybody about it. So anyway, we want to get that place filled up out there, because right now I think they have 15-ish or so residents, and they can hold up to 54, 55. That might be wrong too. A lot more than they have right now. Ribbon cutting for the Otero County Detention Center right over here went on last week. Nice facility they have there. Hopefully, none of you all ever have to go inside there. Casa lunch as well last week. For those who don't know about Casa, Court Appointed Special Advocates, it's a great program. I was part of this back in Oklahoma as well. Hopefully, I can get involved with them here too. As y'all may have seen, we have a new light pole holder down at 3rd in Colorado. It's one of our trucks that's holding the light pole up right now. Visiting with Chris, visiting with Martin. We're in the process of trying to get some bids on to get that fixed. If we can fix what we have, or if we can find something similar, or if we have to go with something all brand new. That's what they're working on right now. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks they get that figured out, and we can not have our truck sitting out there only on the pole. But I mean, the light still works, so it's kind of neat, I guess. And I will be out of town. I'll be leaving tomorrow. I'll be in Glenwood Springs for the rest of the week for the Colorado City County Managers Association workshop. I'll be available. Huh?
Yeah.
What?
She said, can you say
I did make that up, yes. Dang it, you caught me. You caught me. Workshop, I don't know, what do they call it? Meeting? Event?
Yeah.
I'll have my phone if y'all need me. Other than that, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mike.
Unless-
Any questions for Michael?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask.
No? All right. Governing body comments.
just prior to the next meeting, I would like to see a resolution come up for the Conservancy District.
Oh, yeah. They think we'll get with Aaron and go over what we have here and then.
Then a question for this. Did you leave your information with the sheriff and the police department?
Yes, they all have it. I also met with Brad, and then I've got some flyers and cards out here. Then we have a meeting with the health department as well in the beginning of June.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other governing body comments?
I have a few. Just wanted to thank people of Ward 3 who came out for the listening meeting last Monday. Dare I say, they're kind of fun. We had 9 folks, a couple new folks, so everyone's welcome to come to those. You don't have to live in Ward 3, but you'll be jealous. You'll want to move to Ward 3 at the end of the meeting. Next one will be May 12th, always the second Monday of the month, 6 o'clock. We're going back to the Brick and Tile Park. Bring your mosquito spray. There were some themes that I think are worth. There were a lot of questions about urban renewal. So I think I might tap you, Nancy, and maybe somebody else on the authority. Just a lot of questions about like the future, and I think it's exciting what you're doing with restructuring. So would love to have you maybe come to one of our meetings sometime. Also, a lot of conversation about strike and play bowling. Even though it's not part of Ward 3, we're very excited about it and really happy to hear that it was on mentioned several times tonight. So, all right. And then I just want to do a special memory. One of La Junta's, somebody that I think is really special to a lot of people here, Sally Hibbs passed last week, if people hadn't heard, and she was just a very special person to this town, along with her husband Tom. They have been spending more of their time in Kentucky the last couple of years, but their impact on La Junta will always be huge. So just want to let Tom and family and kids and close friends know that as the city of La Junta, we appreciate her, and there will be a celebration planned May 18th, and details will be worked out, so you'll be able to find out about those. And also, in addition to bowling, we're having a lot of bowlers. We also have a lot of people who play foosball in La Junta, of all things. And two of our La Juntaites, Tina Harper and Rob Guernsey, won the Hall of Fame International Tournament in Las Vegas last weekend. They were first in doubles. So it's good to know that we have national champions right here in La Junta. So well done, Tina and Rob. That's all I got.
Okay. It's about that time of year where I kind of make my annual announcement, where you'll probably be seeing less of me here, as I am helping coach the Otero County 4-H shooting sports team. So I'll be splitting a lot of my time again, as I did last year with City Council and helping out with 4-H. So if you don't see me, that is why, but yet I will still make sure that I'm here for any important things. And on that term of 4-H, it is 4-H season, so you'll probably see some kids coming around, seeking donations and everything, and for their various clubs or whatnot. So I just asked if you consider making a donation if you're approached, because a lot of hard work goes into all these projects every year just to get to the fairs, and it makes way for them to go to college as well. So if you see one and they're seeking donations, feel free to help them out. That's all I have.
Any other governing body comments? Definitely condolences to the Hibbs family. And also May the 30th at 11 a.m. At Tiger Trades Academy, we're going to have an Arbor Day celebration. We're going to be planting a tree in memory of Billy Remick. We're going to actually do 3 trees, but only one's going to have the actual celebration. So we're going to do a tree at the primary school, a tree at City Park, and then a tree at Tiger Trades Academy. So that'll be 11 a.m. on May 30th. Other than that, I will call us adjourned. Thank you all for coming out tonight.